It's day 1447 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. The exclusive of our learning will be to LS for the Israeli army and everybody else who's fighting on behalf of the Jewish people throughout the world against our enemies. Today we're doing Yardei Simon Kuf Tzadik, Sif Nun Gimel to Sif Samach Beis. Nun Gimel. Kasar Bein Beis Yosef. The Beis Yosef wrote, Besif Yud Aleph. The Dafka Shanim Sa'abel B'Sor about only if it's found on her flesh. Avol Imitza Nimtza B'Sor Gamakoko is found on the skin and also in a garment. Im Avra B'Shuk Shel Tabachim. If she passed through a marketplace of butchers, on Isaska, because she was involved in something which stains, tell about you can attribute her stain to that substance, which of course is going to keep her tahor. Benching to the chagor, whether it's found below the belt, or she bear or she lifted upper legs, dim so mal mechagor found above the belt. It says Arukh HaShulchan really borrowed. It's clear to me the din anyway time achron shebesifa kodem. It's only going according to the second reason we said before, in the previous sif. First reason he gave is if the blood found that it came from outside, she should find on the garment and not on her skin. Okay, so that won't necessarily work here because here it found also in her skin. And the second reason is that since the blood was found only on her skin, so it must come from her body. That will work here because we'll say that here it was found also in the clothing, so it doesn't necessarily come from her body. Okay, so let's see how he says it here. There's no compelling reason to say that if it came from outside, it shouldn't have been found on her skin, unless it's found only on her skin. It's raglaim with evidence that it came from inside. Therefore, you find on both of them, there's no evidence, and we can attribute it to an outside reason. But according to the first reason, which says that it's not possible for blood from outside to come onto her skin, so what difference does it make if it's found on her skin only, or it has to only be found on the clothing in order to be good. Rather, there's evidence for this. Showing according to Rashba. This will go to Rashba. He goes by the latter reason. I'm astounded that the commentators on the Shulchan Aruch did not actually comment on this. Because they hold that the main point, the main reason is the latter reason. You should know the Shulchan Aruch. According to Shulchan Aruch, I feel it's not directly opposite the stain on her skin. The stain on her clothing is not directly opposite the stain on her skin. When we come across numbers, we never attribute one to the other. The bag of asur is a pet because the garments are wont to turn around. The lolios kavua, turn around, go around. The lolios kavua, obviously don't stay in one place. Also, if the garment was not checked previously, we don't say that this stain was there previously. The one on her skin is from her body. We also assume that which on the garment came now. That which is involved in staining stuff, went to a butcher's market, etc. Other reasons. Essentially, it's by the kesher abasar in totally that which we specified. explained that a stain on her skin you can't attribute to anything. This is in terms of attributing it to something outside of her body. Like a marketplace of butchers. Yesh laws begufa, but if you're going to assume they came from the body, such as a wound in her body, tolin hakesem b'maka, you link the kes, you can attribute the kesem to the wound. As long as it's possible for the blood from that place to get to the place where the stain is. But if the wound is on her shoulder, and the stain is on her thigh, it couldn't have gotten there from that wound. Or if the wound is on her neck, on the sides, that also there can't come on her thigh. Ain't to lean, we can't attribute that to the wound. With man she's tummy. The Firos and Chacham. Everything like this according to the rabbi's discretion. Nunhei. That which you don't that which we Nunhei. That which we don't say that she was, we don't attribute to the fact that she was involved in the staining stuff. It's only the blood was not found on her hands. The blood was found on her hands. We attribute the stains on her body to the blood on her hands that she touched there. Even though we don't take an assumption of Tumah or Tara from place to place, Zel Bistan. That's in a default case, of a generic case. Shalom inside when there's no blood on her hands. Avnim tzadeh and found coming out of her hands. It's time that we know that hands move around a lot. It's not going from place to place. The body no goes it's certainly touched there. Therefore you find blood on her hands. You can assume any place in the body is linked to that blood on her hands. Those who say some say we only what's on her hands can be linked to what's on her hands. In other words, I guess the back of her hand. Not her whole body. It's a Taz Vika de Rishon. Primary halach is like the first opinion. That's what you see to Tara Paskins. Yesh Omrim, in the Pesach Tshuva, Gam Yisaska Bosa B'Dogim Sheish B'Hem Dam Hadin Kain. She's involved with meat and fish, I guess, which have blood inside them. I guess she's not really directly involved with blood, but there's blood inside them. That's also halacha v'tzarich. Nunvav Shetoilam HaMakas Shebegufa, when she attributes the blood to a wound on her body. Tola Afilu Im Eino Dashim HaKosim Otidam. She can assume that even if she doesn't know if a wound is producing blood. The matter is a kavachom. If when she sees on account of having relations, these barbers we said there the telemaka she can attribute it to a wound. Even though she doesn't know for sure that the wound is bleeding. This is certainly true by ksomim, which are lighter halacha. Chazal also said greatness in the Mishnah. Even if the wound is healed, if it's possible for the wound to have a scab, and that by scratching there, the blood will cook. The scab, I guess, will come off, and the blood will come out. Even though there is a scab, or some sort of membrane over there, it's not dripping. We assume that it did in the past. Chachamim were lenient by Ksomim. After they made the Gzeira, they were lenient in its application. Those who say, if it's known that the wound is producing blood, she knows she definitely touched the Makkah. Even though she doesn't know that where there's blood on her fingers, we say the Vada Yesh Dam, we certainly say there's blood. And she can assume that any stain on her body, it can be attributed to this wound. In place where the makkah cannot on its own reach bleed in that area. But we both say that the consonant bow came from the hand, shomat there, kedin shebasibachim like the previous sif. Arukh HaShulchan is not 100% sure about that. Nun zayin kesem animtza chaluka. If you find a stain on her garment, a kakshinu chachamim, the Mishnah Chachamim says, learn the Mishnah Rasa chaluka she's on a garment, minachagor lamata, but it's beneath the belt. Tamei she's talking. Minachagor lamala, but it's above the belt. Torah she's talking. Rasa abeis yad shecholok, she's on the sleeve of the garment. Imagir knega beis haturpa, if that sleeve reaches opposite her genitals, tamei. She's taught maybe in laughter, if not she's taught. Excuse me. If she removes it and uses it as a cover at night, any place you find a kesem is tamei. If she closes it, because it gets wrapped around. Chen bepulius, not sure exactly what it is. There's a word in English like that. But anyway, that garment which we cover herself with, same principle. The reason why above the belt is tar, because it's above the genitals. And the blood cannot get there, flow up there. The place of the belt itself is tamei. It's also a little bit above the genitals. But just bending down a little, you get a base of turpa, it'll reach opposite the genitals. So no difference where on the garment beneath the belt it is found. In front of her, behind her. The garment goes, it's really like a robe. You can go around and twist around like any other garment. Which twist around this way and that. Nun ches, there's a question here. The sleeve of a robe doesn't reach opposite the genitals unless you bend down significantly. You find on the sleeve of her garment, if the place where where you find the blood on the sleeve reaches to the genitals, she's telling me, even she can't get there unless she bends down significantly. She can't touch there at all. She's tar. I kind of shown it. A quote from the Shulchan Aruch, I guess. That's the case, says Arukh HaShulchan. Why should tar if it's above the belt? By bending down significantly, which opposite the genitals. Also, it's above the belt. Therefore, he wanted to say that Myra Dafka Shikogeres B'Chagura. Specifically talking about she's not just the place of the belt, but she's wearing a belt. So it's above the belt, is arrested from going down and will not get opposite the genitals. She's not belted. To Mayhem, even it's found above the place of the belt. That's the Sidrei Tara, who's unsure. Nun test says you can't say this. That Tana simona the gufa nakat. The Tana uses the simon of the body, moka machagor, the place of the belt goes. For is the evidence for this is Sharash is al kosa the mina chagor lamata from the belt and below. Habi kenega base of turpa. It's opposite the genitals. I ain't sure. If that's the reason. If the reason is because it shifts around, twists around. It doesn't have to be opposite the genitals. Because she can get there by bending down. Not because they're twisting, because they're bending down. Can't get to opposite the genitals. But the Rambam Ferush Mishnah Perush Pulius Shizeh Chagor Shulcha Gerspo. It says a pulius is a belt which she belts herself with, which she's not wearing in this case. I'm sure. But you saw that in my number ratio Chagor Lamato. The Lamato. That if you're going to say that, which says in Mishnah, but by Reisha at the beginning, is the Chagor Lamato. The Eina Ella It's only when she has a belt. You can't hanuach. First halacha and the second halacha are the same. But furthermore, the came lama lo be a poskim davajet so nitzach mas mechuyam. Why the poskim that mentions, which is an essential issue every day. The feast said benoshim shalonu, according to this with our women, sheina chokos mechavura, don't wear a belt. To me b'chol makom she'akesem nitzach haluka. She told me no matter where the stain is found in her robe. B'chol kiai, everything like this. Havli afar, she should have explained. Achben atzal in a shel klal, but this question is not a question at all. The dover zeyadua, this is no. When a person bends down a lot, the garments is when you get more distant from somebody. You can't if she bends down a lot, then her garment on top will be more distant. From the belt, then her robe, which is above the belt, will be distant. Harbei, very much so, from the genitals. The blood can't reach there. The ulevadze, besides, lo dam shchiyas hayad shchiyas haguf. It's not comparable the bending down the hand to the bending down of the body. The biyad dargash adam shnitzel chapes davar shochi harbei. Well, the hand, a normal course of events. The person needs to look for something. The hand goes down a lot. And his body is not as bent down as the hand. As we see with our senses. And the Sejitari himself seems to go back on what he said before. Samech, you should know the female is bar by Shas and Preskim, Shak Kesim B'chobra, a stain is relevant to all her clothes, she will veshes, what she's wearing, Shanitza Chagon Lamata, when she's found below the belt. Kashin and Forish is said explicitly, in the Chesed base, Love Shashosh Chalukas, if she wore 3 robes. They write the Zel Rak B'Chalukas Lo B'Shar B'Godim. So we talk about robes and not other garments. Koshkim B'Godim B'Dan, certainly not in our garments. The Yevshar B'Shum Panim, Sheva Dan B'Osam Makam Abgodel Yonim. It's not possible for any blood to come up on her, the top part of her garments. Lo Shayach, Bohem Din Ksami. And the din of Ksami is not relevant. Also the pillows on our beds, the mukapin sarim, which is surrounded with boards. I guess what about mattresses. According to Sunnahs with Zolamita, and the mattresses are within the bed. Can't turn over. It's fixed in place. Therefore, if the stain is found on the second mattress, another further down, the Yeshitari should be Matire. So it's really time putting mirrors. Obviously, all this has to do with how the place sees this thing. Based on how the garments and the beds are arranged in that area. Sheets and blankets, which you use to cover yourself when you're sleeping. Obviously, even by us, they twist around. Every place you find kesim will push it through that symbol. If you find the stain on her garment below the belt, or place, or at the place where the belt would be itself, she's talking about even found on the outside. If she passed through the marketplace of butchers, she's taught you find the inside, and on her skin. You find on a garment only above the belt area only. She's Torah filu. These dark even if she jumped up and lifted up her legs. If you love her, and even she didn't go through a marketplace of butchers. She would have come to the general saying Nimsa Basara would have been found on her skin at Kalashama and quote for the base Yosef. That which you will that below the belt is Tami. I feel Nimsa Tzarchuti is found on the outside. It's because the outer surface of this robe often folds to the inside. It's a pre-show. We say that if she passed in the marketplace and butchers a star, I feel nimtza panim, even it's on the inside. Who pashut? It's simple. Then nuts adam. Mitalis with that. We say the blood spurted out from. It's weird. Okay, the dots on mitalis with the blood spurted to underneath her garments. Therefore, he wrote on the shukshal tabachin. Even if you find it on the inside and on her skin, both of them, because I'm Sifli Yunun Gimel. Ava Turkasav, the two writes Ab Sar Tame. If it's on the skin, it's Tame Ayin Sham, which evidently is because if you don't find it on the garment, we don't assume it came through the very bottom and then coming up on the skin. Okay, he brings down some brackets which we're not going to understand if we don't see the Beis Yosef and Prisha, and we're not going to see them. Sound base. That which he wrote, that when from the belt and above is Torah, feeling these darker, even if she jumped up, I feel lower of Shukshal Tabachim, even if she didn't walk in a marketplace of butchers. No matter the Bezer Lo Dami, the Kesim Shal Basara, that's similar to a stain on her skin. The Sham and these darker Tmei there if she jumped his tummy. Even above the belt, I feel over Shukshal Tabachim. Even if she has the excuse of having gone through a butcher's market. But here she started feeling love, right? Even she didn't go into a butcher's market. Why? But time the because the reason if it was a firm body, she would have found some on the skin. In other words, also on the skin. And because for sure when she jumped and found blood on her skin and on the garment above the belt, she's tamei. But here we say Shnal Vashtem, we say it fell on both of them. Avoshipo rak al chaluka, but she fall only on the garment, below basara, and not on her skin. If shalom or king, can't say it. Not sure why not. Can't. Even the Gemara, it seems that when she jumps up, then everything above the belt area is just like it's below the belt. Whenever say she still came Batura and shown that somebody holds that way, the Torah see there. Come, let us mash the day is Zui Chorus. The Beis Yosef that this opinion is primary. The Chai Gavna, Lo Mi Devin Lamal Kilamata. You don't say that on top is like below. Ela Benimtza Basor Al Shneim. That's found on the skin or on both the skin and the garment. But Lo Mitzah Bita Levad, not it was found on the not where it's found on her garment alone. The Bach and CJ Tara seem to have difficulty with this. Okay, but he's going to go on and explain more tomorrow.